Alright, Shalom, Yasharahla. First off, before I begin this lesson, I want to give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakah, Kadash, for giving me the spirit to do this lesson. I want to give a double honors to the elders and the apostles, chiefly of Great Millstone, where I learnt this truth from. You know, they're the real prophets of these end times, and if you hearken unto them, which is the mouthpiece or the voice of the Most High, then you may have a shot at salvation. Furthermore, I want to state that I am not officially a part of Great Millstone, but I will say that I do learn under their doctrine and strictly under their doctrine, as I recognize them to be the true prophets of these end times who possess the 100% truth as a body. Okay? So with that being said, I just want to get into this lesson. And really it's put on my spirit to do this lesson, basically to let you know that the world that we live in, planet Earth, was created for the Israelites, which are you so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans. Okay? So the world was created for the Israelites, and I'm going to prove this with scripture. Because the thing is, you got a lot of heathen running around this earth like it's theirs, man. You know, proud as all hell, should I say. You know, just running around like this is some kind of playground and just destroying the earth, man. Our earth. You so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans, the biblical Israelites, this is our earth. And we're at the bottom, and they like to keep us that way. This is why they spend billions and trillions on different things to keep us down, you know. On false information, misinformation, you know, the education system, history, whitewashing, you know, all kinds of algorithms and YouTube guidelines and censorship and things of that nature. You know, they do these things to keep us down, keep us from knowing who we are, which are the chosen of the Most High, man. You know, the whole world seems to think that we're Africans. You know, but we're not Africans, man. We're the children of Israel. You know, these are Africans right here. Hamites, biblically known as Hamites, the nation of Ham. We are Israel right here, the most talented and brightest people on this planet, the lively stones. And our number one arch enemy is the so-called white man, which is biblically known as the nation of Edom, the biblical Edomites. And they are prophesied to be destroyed in this third world war that's coming soon. So Russia is about to destroy America, along with a few other nations that are going to point their arrows toward America and wipe it off the map. And that's the biggest day that's ever going to exist or ever has been on the planet Earth. Okay? So America is biblically known as the daughter of Babylon, or Babylon the Great, as well as many other names, but it's all talking about the same place, which we know today as America. You won't find the word America in the Bible, but it is a major key player in end time prophecy. Okay, so with that being said, let's get into the lesson. I'm going to start at the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6 and verse 54, and I'm going to read on down, but the point is in verse 59. But, you know, all of these other scriptures I'm about to read you are relevant. So here we go. It's the book of 2nd Ezra 6 and 54. It says, "And after these Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all." So we can all agree that we all came from Adam. Everybody knows the story of Adam and Eve, although it's not, you know, it's not broken down properly in Christianity. They state that it was one man, one woman. They had incest sex and then multiplied in the earth, when that's not the case. Okay, and there wasn't a talking snake either. Okay, but that's a whole nother topic and a whole another lesson. But everybody knows the story of Adam and Eve. And the Lord, he made Adam and Eve Lord of all thy creatures. Okay, or Adam, should I say. And it says, "Of him come we all." the people, Adam. We come of them. And it says, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. Okay, so there's a separation right there. The Most High has his chosen, which are the elect of Israel. And he has the rest of the people that come from Adam, which today would be the heathen. Anyone outside of the nation of Israel that aren't on the 12 tribes chart that I showed you in the beginning of this lesson. Let me just quickly go back to it so you can see. Boom. Okay, so you have Judah at the top, which is the top tribe of the southern kingdom right here. You see southern kingdom, which consists of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Judah is the head tribe, which is the so-called Negroes today in the world, okay? Benjamin being the West Indians, Levi being the Haitians. And then you have the northern kingdom, okay, which consists of the other tribes, which is Simeon, Zebulun, Ephraim, Manasseh, Gad, Reuben, Naphtali, Asher, and Issachar, okay? And on the side here, you can see what denominations they are, okay? So that's the ones that are chosen. It says in verse 55, all this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. So there you have it right there. The Lord made the world for the sakes of the Israelites. And if that's not good enough for you, I'm going to read some more and let you and let you know for sure that the world was created for the Israelites, okay? All you other nations were created to serve Israel. Israel is the Most High's chosen, the Most High's special people in this earth that were chosen to hold the light, okay? We're the light bearers, we're the true Illuminati, because the word Illuminati means illuminated ones, okay? We're the true Lucifer, should I say, because Lucifer is not a bad word. Lucifer just means light bearer, okay? So verse 56, it says, as for the other people which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, which is spit. It says, and it has likened the abundance of them, meaning them as a whole, unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So them as a whole, the abundance of them is like a drop that fell from a bucket. You're not going to really care about a little drop that fell out of a big bucket of water. You're not even going to give it a thought. And that's how the Most High feels about these other nations. So this goes out to all you people out there that think the Lord loves everybody and that we're all equal. This cuts you right there. You err not knowing the scriptures. To know the Holy Bible is power, because it alters your sense of understanding. You know, a lot of people don't really understand much about the world they're born into, but those that seek the Lord shall find him. You know, so if you were one of those ones that were born like that, you were made like that, and you're one of those ones that dive head first into what the world calls conspiracy theories, and you look into the deep things of this world, you know, and you seek the Most High, you seek the truth, then, you know, you'll find the truth. But if you just want to clap your hands and sing in a Christian church and you're comfortable being on that level, then you never excel into the truth, because the scriptures state to seek the truth unto death. So we should always be seeking truth, man. Not getting comfortable in what we've learned and thinking that that's it, thinking you know it all. The rabbit hole goes very deep. I just want to jump to a quick precept in the book of Isaiah. This is Isaiah 40 and 15. It says, behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket. Okay, just like that drop that falleth from a vessel that we just read in the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 6. It says, behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket and are counted as the small dust of the balance. Okay, so the small dust that's left on a balance after you then weighed something and it left a little bit of dust, you're not really going to care about that, are you? It weighs nothing, it has no weight, it has no value. So it says, behold, he taketh up the isles as a very little thing. So the point is that these other nations are counted as nothing to the Most High, okay? Counted as a drop of a bucket, okay? Let's jump down to verse 17. So this is Isaiah 40 and 17. It says, all nations before him are as nothing, and they are counted to him less than nothing and vanity. Okay, so they're worthless. Okay, it's all about Israel. Okay, he's the one that the Most High chose. Okay, let me just quickly further prove that point. Let's jump to the book of Deuteronomy. You know, it's relevant that I bring these things out because it further lets you know that it backs up basically everything that I've been reading to you. Okay, so this is Deuteronomy 7 and 6. It says, for thou art an holy people, holy meaning separate. We're separate from the rest of these nations. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power have chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. Okay, so the scriptures right here, which is the word of the Most High, says that we are above all people. We're not equal. There's no such thing as us being equal to other people. There's a reason we're at the bottom in society, trapped in the ghettos, slums, and put on reservations. It's because they have to keep us that way. Otherwise, we would rise up above them, and their white supremacy would be over. They have to protect that at all costs. Let me jump to Deuteronomy chapter 14 and 2. It says, for thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power, and Yahweh thy power, and Yahweh have chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself. We're different, above all nations that are upon the earth. So we're above all nations, not just the people, but all nations. Like ELAM, which is your East Indians, MOAB, which is your Chinese, Ham, which is your Africans. We're above all these nations. You know, your so-called Arabs, which are the Ishmaelites. We're above all these people, all these nations, okay? Let me jump back to 2nd Ezra's. Bear with me. Okay, so now that I've further backed up this precept in 2nd Ezra 6 and 56, that all the other nations are nothing but spit and like a little drop from a bucket. Now I'm going to read further down. So let's start with verse 57. It says, and now, O Lord, behold, these heathen, which is any nation outside of the nation of Israel, which have ever been reputed as nothing, meaning that they've always had the reputation of being nothing. It's just today, this world is so brainwashed since Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, came into power. He's distorted the true history of this earth and the right order of this earth, and he's flipped everything upside down on its head. But righteousness and truth is getting ready to come back into the world, and you're seeing the start of that now as we approach the end. So I'm going to go ahead and start that again. It says, and now, O Lord, behold, these heathen which have ever been reputed as nothing have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. Meaning that we used to rule over them back in what Esau likes to call the Dark Ages. We were ruling the world back then. But now, these heathen rule over us. And they devour us, meaning they steal everything from us, rob us of our talents, rob us of our culture, rob us of everything. Anything we bring to the earth, they take like it belongs to them. You know, Uganda just found like over $13 trillion worth of gold. And watch what's getting ready to happen to them, man. So verse 58, it says, but we thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. So these are other names that the Most High has for his chosen people. His firstborn, his only begotten, and his fervent lover. I'm going to go ahead and quick prove this in the book of Exodus. So this is the book of Exodus chapter 4 and verse 22, and it says, "And thou shalt say unto Pharaoh, Thus saith Yahweh, Israel is my son, even my firstborn." So there are many names for the Most High's chosen, who are also known as his plant or his vineyard. Okay, which I'll prove to you in a few moments, but let me first jump back to where I was. Oh, Salakia. Okay, so I'm going to read verse 58 again. "But we thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. The Most High gave us into their hands as our punishment. This is why the heathen rule over us, even though we are a stronger nation. But the Most High has made it to where we will never rise up above him until we return to him and keep his ways." Okay, return to our power. Now verse 59 is the point I want to get to. It says, "If the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure?" Okay, so Ezra is asking the Most High, if you created the world for our sakes, why are we at the bottom? Why do we not enjoy the world like the rest of these heathen? And how long is this going to last? And the scriptures explain when this, how long this is going to last. Let's just jump up a little bit. Let's start at verse 7. 2 Ezra 6 and 7. It says, "Then answered I and said, What shall be the part and asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first, and the beginning of it that followeth?" So what he's inquiring with the Most High is, when is going to be the end of this earth and the beginning of the new earth that's promised to come? The beginning that followeth. Okay? So here's the answer. It says, "And he said unto me, From Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau." And you can read that in the book of Genesis, chapter 25, and verse 19 on down. It explains the birth of Esau when the so-called white man first came into the earth, and he was described as being red because he was clear, he was see-through. You could see his blood through his skin, which wasn't normal at that time in history because everybody else looked like Jacob. That's why the scriptures didn't describe what Jacob looked like, because he looked like everybody else. To have melanin protects you from the sun. So the people that don't have melanin, that's their mark, which is Cain in the reincarnation. But that's a whole nother topic. But like I said, you can read that in the book of Genesis chapter 25, verse 19 on down. Okay, so Jacob's hand held the heel of Esau when they were born, because they were twin brothers, okay? But they were two different nations, and the Most High made that so. So Esau was the progenitor of the so-called white man, and Jacob was the progenitor of the nation of Israel, which consists of the so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Americans in the world today. So verse 9 says, "For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth." So this is the reason why Jacob held on to the heel of Esau, because Esau is described as the end of the world, and Jacob is going to be the immediate transition of power. There's not going to be a gap in between. That's why he held the heel. It was symbolic. Because when when Esau finished his rulership of destroying the whole earth, then Jacob would take over. And then comes the kingdom of heaven when the world rejoices. This is Esau, who's in rulership right now. This is why the earth is not rejoicing. Job 9:24, boom, right there. It says the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. Okay? And he covered the faces of the judges, which are the Israelites, and the Most High, and the angels, and Yahushua, the Son of the Most High, who they call Jesus today. They covered the true identity of them. During the Renaissance era, which Renaissance means rebirth, during the Middle Ages when Esau, the so-called white man, rose into power through Alexander the Great. Right, so the next precept I'm going to bring out is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7. We're going to jump down to verse 10 through 11. And it reads, "And I said, Is it so, Lord? Then said he unto me, Even so also is Israel's portion, because for their sakes I made the world." See? So the world was made for the Israelites' sakes. It says, "And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done." But the point is in the part where in verse 11, the beginning of verse 11, where it says, "Because for their sakes I made the world." So the world was only made for a particular people's sakes. Okay, and if this doesn't convince you enough, I'm going to quickly jump into the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 13. It says, "And therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished." Who's the ungodly? Let's quickly, before I read any more, let's jump to the book of Psalms chapter 73. To give you a better understanding of who we're talking about here. We'll start at verse 3. Psalm 73 and 3 says, "For I was envious at the foolish when I saw the prosperity of the wicked," which is the so-called white man today. The foolish and the wicked are the same people. It says, "For there are no bands in their death, but their strength is firm." Okay, so they have an easier life than other people in this world, man. It says, "They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men," because they have their supremacy in this earth and they look out for each other. They get the best jobs. You know, a so-called black man can fill out a resume or a job application, and they won't get hired strictly the fact that their name sounds like a black name, like Jamal or something, you know, or Laquita, you know. That's why it says they are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. You know, because we have it bad in this world. We don't have the same opportunity as other people, regardless of what people try to say. You know, our people still suffer psychologically from, you know, the effects of systematic oppression and slavery, you know. So verse 7, it says, "Their eyes stand out with fatness, they have more than a heart could wish." So the people that have more than a heart could wish is the so-called white man, because that was Esau's blessing, to have the fatness of the earth. You can read that in the book of Genesis chapter 27. It says, "And they are corrupt and speak wickedly concerning oppression, they speak loftily." So who are the main politicians in this world? It's the so-called white man. Okay, and they're always corrupt, you know. I mean, there are corrupt people of every nation, but the so-called white man is the biggest corrupt people in this world, man, because they own the world, and look at what they've done under their rulership, on their watch. The whole world is full of corruption. And they speak wickedly concerning oppression, you know. We get shot, they say he shouldn't have been resisting, and that's just a small example. They say he should have complied, you know. What happened to George Floyd? They said, oh, he was just a druggie. You know, they speak wickedly concerning our oppression. They speak loftily. It says they set their mouth against the heavens, and their tongue walketh through the earth. So their policies and their language walks through the earth, man. Is the dominant, you know, English language is the dominant language in this earth, and their policies and their philosophies are pushed heavily throughout this whole earth, and their supremacy. Okay, so they set their mouth against the heavens. That means that, you know, everything the Most High does, they think they can do better. They think they don't need the Most High. You know, they speak as if the Most High is in the way, you know. It says, therefore his people return hither, and waters of a full cup are wrung out to them. And they say, how doth the Most High know? And is there knowledge in the Most High? So they think they don't need the Most High. They think it's not profitable to be a man of the Lord. It says, behold, these are the ungodly, and that's key right there. These are the ungodly who prosper in the world. Okay, they do well in this life. It says they increase in riches because they hand down generational wealth. So-called Black, Latino, and Native American, they don't really fill out wills like that when they die. They don't pass on inheritances to their children like the so-called white man. Okay, we ain't the ones that prosper in the world. We're not the ungodly as a nation. Let me quickly jump back to where I was. So that was the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, I think. And 13, I think it was, yeah. So let's read that again. It says, and therefore be thou not curious how the ungodly shall be punished, because their punishment is coming. That's when Jacob takes over and rules the earth, because they're about to be brought down by their own devices, the weapons that they've created, the ICBM nuclear missiles that never should have been created, but that's the fruit of the so-called white man. That's what he brings, is nothing but death and destruction. Just like the book of Genesis chapter 27 says that Esau was blessed with the sword. I believe it's verse 40. Okay, and it says, be not curious of how the ungodly shall be punished and when, which we already know that their punishment is coming soon, so just be patient. It says, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved. Okay, so we need to really focus on how we're going to be saved, the righteous, man. Just teach the word, man. Comfort our people, let them know that their time of rulership is coming, that this oppression is not forever, man. That divine intervention is going to happen, and this is only for the wise and the spiritual, the ones that have a spiritual eye to understand. Because if you're a carnal person in this world, you'll never be able to understand this truth, and these comforting words are not for you. It says, but inquire how the righteous shall be saved, whose the world is, and for whom the world is created. See? So the world is ours, and it was created for us. End of story. Okay? Let me just quick jump down to verse 22 here. It says, let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain. So that's the multitude of people, not just the heathen, but our people too. The ones that are predestined to be destroyed. Okay, it says, and let my grape be kept, and my plant, for with great labor have I made it perfect. Okay, so the Most High has done a lot of work behind the scenes to make our people perfect. Okay, not imperfect in the sense that we are keeping 100% of the commandments perfectly, and we're not sinning at all, because for any of us to say that we are without sin, it makes us a liar. Okay, so it's not talking about perfect in that sense. So if anybody tells you that you have to keep 100% of the law, they're a false prophet. Okay, I'm not telling you not to keep the law, because of course we must keep it to the best of our ability. But what I'm saying is, to be perfect doesn't mean that you're keeping the law 100%. Okay, because no man can do that in this captivity. So it says, my grape and my plant. Okay, because the grape and the plant is the house of Israel, the northern and southern kingdom. Okay, let's just quickly prove this. Let's jump to the book of Isaiah. Where is Isaiah? Chapter 5. All right, verse 7. Isaiah 5 and 7, it says, for the vineyard of Yahweh of hosts is the house of Israel. And a vineyard is like where you grow grapes, so that's the grape. And it says, and the men of Judah, which is the northern kingdom, the southern kingdom, Salakia, his pleasant plant. Okay, so Judah is the plant, and Israel, which is the northern kingdom, is the vineyard or the grape. Okay, well, yeah, the vineyard, let's just say, okay. It says, and he looked for judgment, but behold oppression, for righteousness, but behold a cry. You know, that's our people, man, crying unto the Lord right now. It's nothing but oppression, which, you know, by these people right here, which is soon coming to an end, man. Let me jump back. So let's quickly jump back to the book of 2nd Esdras. Okay, so it says, let the multitude perish then, which was born in vain, and let my grape be kept. Okay, and a grape is not a vineyard, it's the grape of the vineyard, because it's a very remnant that are going to make it. Not all of Israel's going to make it, okay? Only a remnant, which would be considered like a grape compared to a whole vineyard. Okay, and let my grape be kept alive. Okay, it says, and my plant. It says, for with great labor have I made it perfect. So the Most High has been fashioning us and trying us and refining us as gold to make us perfect, you know, so that we can get ready to rule this earth. Because when the scriptures talk about Jacob ruling the earth in the book of 2nd Esdras chapter 6, 6 and 9, it says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So when Jacob rules the world, it's not talking about the little hoodlums that you see running around throwing up gang signs and killing each other. Okay, they're getting ready to be destroyed because the Most High hasn't chosen them, and they will never repent. They will never come back to the ways of the Most High and be renewed and come back to their kingly character that we used to be, you know, before we were oppressed by the so-called white man. When we were living in our homeland, you know, we were a lot more respected in the world than we are now, okay? But the Most High has made his great perfect, because right now the Lord has chosen the finest of our people to rule the new earth. So it's going to be nothing like what you see now. You know, people, when they think of us ruling the earth, they tend to think that it's going to be like nigger heaven. You know, a bunch of gangbangers running around, rap music everywhere. Everything's going to be in righteousness, man. This world is going to be better than it's ever been, okay? And that's under our rulership, man. All right, so, you know, I'll close out there. I hope you've been edified through this lesson. This is for the hopeful elect, the ones that are paying attention to prophecy and to cleave into the ways of the Most High in these end times, okay? The ones that are destined to be saved. So I hope you've been edified through this lesson. On that note, man, I'm going to close out. Give all honor, praise, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kodash, and Shalom, Yasharahla.